show up at 9:45.
All right. Good morning. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here. I know we're a little early, or we're a little late. I know for the 9:30. We thought I was going to be at the beach. We got some things moved around, so then most of us all showed up here at 9:30. But we said we weren't going to start till 9:45. So we've got a couple of things that we're starting a little bit early on or late, how you look at it. But we certainly appreciate you being here. Obviously, it's been 2 weeks. We've had a couple of things going on. First was a trip to D.C. It was a good trip. Had a chance to go up there. Mainly, it was a reception for ST that was up there for their North American headquarters. Had a chance to meet with. They had most everybody over from Singapore. Had a chance to see them, talk about the hangars, talk about where we're going. Really wanting to get into making sure we keep moving forward with the training school on the airport. I think that's going to be critical to meeting their labor needs as hangars 2, 3, and 4 come online. And so from that standpoint, we had some good discussions while I was there. I went ahead and took advantage of the time while I was there to go ahead and meet with a couple of congressional offices while they were out on recess. I met with a couple of congressional offices and some agencies, including the executive office. I went to meet there with the executive office. Mainly one of the things we were talking about, a big situation with transportation. Obviously, the airport, we continue to push. We're hoping to get funds here at the first of the state's calendar year, which is July 1, for design. But shortly thereafter, we'll be having to put together the plan for build out on the terminal expansion at the airport. So we certainly need that. We need the increase. What we're doing, like I said before, it was kind of goes into our next trip, but we definitely want to see air service continue to be expanded here with more opportunities in what's going on. So we're excited about that, and that was a big part of that DC trip as well. Last week we went to Savannah. This is the Chamber trip, is really driven by the Chamber of Commerce. They put this on. We've done these before. They even did one last September that went to Louisville. I did not have a chance to go. I was already engaged with something, but I know that Kareth Fiddler went to Louisville. But Kareth, Amy, and David Forte, and I, Amy Miller, and I all went to Savannah. There were several things we were looking at Savannah which were very good. I mean, certainly it was great. We had a chance to look at their airport and their seaport. Obviously, their seaport is amazing. We're not going to have anything like it in Pensacola. We don't have that kind of room. It's not something we want to be. We stay focused on what we're doing in a niche. But there were a lot of things that were very interesting about how that niche is created and what they do with their port on the river and how it blends with their downtown. So there was a lot of interesting discussion related to that. I will say the airport was interesting to see what they've done with hangars. They've got Gulfstream builds all of their small planes, certainly their Gulfstream planes there in Savannah in those hangars. So it was amazing to see those. They're significantly bigger than our airport, but I think what we've got going on with ST and the hangars that will be going on will continue to be ways for us to further enhance both employment and revenue to the city as we continue to see those going forward. So it was interesting to see that as well. But I think one of the main things we all went to see is really their downtown. They have 3 times the number of visitors we do in the Savannah area than Pensacola, but they also get most of theirs. They're about 80% in the city area, the downtown area, versus 20% that's probably beach related. We're kind of the flip. We're more 80% beach related, 20% downtown. But we really went to look at some things that we're dealing with, how to present our downtown, historical, cultural tourism. I know that was very important to Councilwoman Broughton, who was one of the ones who wanted us to go there. But it was certainly good on that. We learned a lot. One of the other good things that was really good to do is just go there and see Mayor Van Johnson. I've gotten to know before this trip. I'd gotten to know him related to Parent University. It's one of the things that we've been working on, helping areas of our community get parents more involved in their school with their students. And again, it's something that's worked very successfully in Savannah. And really, thanks to some people like Julia McQueen and some other people who wanted us to look at it, we took a look at it and have started that process. We started that back in 2019. As a matter of fact, actually, while we were in Savannah, Mike O'Neill was actually here doing some parent university things here in Pensacola. So I got to know Van Johnson before that. Councilwoman Broughton's gotten to know Mayor Van Johnson, and so it was good for us to catch up with him and see a couple of things. And it's always good to see what other people do, what other things other communities are looking for. So all of those things were interesting. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun, but we're back and ready to apply some of our knowledge. Some of them we applied this weekend. I would say if you were here this weekend, it was incredibly an active weekend in keeping downtown vibrant and active. And I think you saw that with a couple of things that were both somewhat new. But we had the Over the Edge fundraiser for Art Gateway, which was rappelling down the SCI building, the Studer Community Institute building on Garden Street. I saw John there. He was asking me about it earlier. So I had the chance to do it. It was an interesting experience. I will say, when you first get up there, they ask you to lean back with all your weight and let go of the rope. So that's always an interesting moment. But just to make sure, they got two safeties on there to catch you. So, anyways, it was an interesting experience. It definitely was a new way to do fundraising, and I think it was creative, and people were out there and just enjoying seeing something different. It was truly seemed somewhat crazy for those that were going over the edge, but it was a fun experience. The second thing, obviously, was yesterday moving forward with the dedication for Fred Levin Way. It was a great event. Both the Levin family, the Levin Papantonio law firm, the City of Pensacola was obviously heavily engaged. Lumen May, Escambia County was there. Certainly saw Chip Simmons. So it was good to have a number of people out there. But the festival that they had to go along with that and everything else, I think it went all the way from Tarragona all the way over to Balin. There were activities going up Palafox, a lot of activity on a Sunday morning in downtown Pensacola. So it was good to see that activity as well. It was great to recognize. Certainly we were very sorry a year ago we lost Fred during COVID, but now that we're out of COVID, we had the chance to kind of celebrate. We thought this was an appropriate way, naming that block where their law firm is, naming that, I think, was a way to integrate certainly his efforts and what he brought to this community and into there. So I thought it was a great ceremony, and we all it was a good time. There were some other things that have been going on. We had the Kiwanis dog park ribbon cutting this week. So again, just another example of where we're trying to create more amenities. And again, everything doesn't happen downtown. This is all across there. This is on our west side. This is our first dog park on the west side, and it is a great dog park. There's a small dog park and a big dog park with a number of different obstacles and things to do. And I will tell you, if you were there, if you looked at our website, our Facebook page, or anything else, our social media, there were a ton of dogs. They're already using it. The park is being well utilized. There's not a dog park that we have anywhere that hadn't been a success. We have several of them on the north side and the east side, so it was about time we put one on the west side. Very proud of what we were able to do with that. I did want to recognize a couple of our employees about that. I wanted to recognize Parks and Recreation staff, Kim Carmody, and also Marcy Whitaker, who, with our housing, that got a CDBG grant for the project. So Marcy, thank you back there. Appreciate your help making that happen. There are a lot of dogs that are very happy on the west side. So hope you have a chance to take a look at that. Again, I think Kiwanis Park is probably in a lot of ways is an unknown treasure. A lot of people probably don't even know where it is or anything about it, but it's a great little park in a neighborhood right there south of Garden between Pace and East Street. So it's a great park. If you have a chance, you're over there. Nice little neighborhood. Great to keep the park active and amenities going. So we really appreciate that. Then I guess last, we also had, we have not had a fire department ceremony for 2 years. So this was our first fire department ceremony since 2019. We were able to recognize all of our firefighters of the year, officers of the year, firefighter for different incidents. We had not had, obviously, with COVID and wanted to stay with numbers. We wanted to prevent any real congregating. Our fire department was at sort of the tip of the spear during our COVID response. So I hated that they had to miss 2 years of getting together, but it was a great ceremony to have so many people there and see some of the things we've done. Again, beginning June 1, we're going to be an ISO rated 1 system. That's happened because of those men and women that are involved in our fire service. They do an incredible job, and it was great to be able to recognize them. There's another thing that we've had a chance to get recognized for, and we're gonna. I see some people in the back that are here for this recognition that have participated in this significantly, but I was going to get a. We are recognized. The City of Pensacola has received gold designation from SolSmart for advancing solar energy growth. I want to recognize staff who has worked on this. Obviously, Mark Jackson. Mark is not able to be here, but in the back is Sherry Morris, Cynthia Cannon. Thank you very much, ladies, for your contribution in making this happen. Jonathan Bilby, Robbie Weekly, and Terry Lamb, and they're going to come forward and we're going to get a picture on this. But let me tell you what this is. The City of Pensacola received a gold designation from the National SolSmart program for making it faster, easier, and more affordable for homes and businesses to go solar. This designation recognizes the city for taking steps to encourage solar energy growth and removing obstacles to solar development. To receive designation, cities and counties must change their local processes to reduce the time and money it takes to install solar energy systems. This includes evaluating the permitting process as well as planning and zoning procedures. For more information about SolSmart designation, visit solsmart.org. Team, come forward. There we are. Come on in here, ladies. Get one. Cynthia. Sure, you get in the middle. Right. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3. Let you go. Thank you very much. Did you want to say anything?
I would like to thank you, Mayor. The city is always striving to keep our codes and our processes progressive. Anything we can do to facilitate green building practices, any energy conservation. We try to go the extra mile to do so. I know that our building official has been very proactive, as has our sustainability coordinator, Mark Jackson, that the mayor mentioned. So we're just happy to keep trying to work to keep our codes current and remove any impediments to green building, and protecting the local climate and the environment is always our goal.
Sherry, thank you so much. Earth Day this past weekend, so appreciate that. Certainly, Sherry and Cynthia, thank you very much for what y'all have been doing. Mark and Jonathan, Robbie and Terry, the whole team, we've been working diligently to continue to do these things. It's another part of Earth Day. We're going to recognize that National Arbor Day and Tree Giveaway. The City of Pensacola Parks and Recreation Department is hosting a National Arbor Day ceremony on Friday, April 29th, which is this Friday at Hitzman Optimus Park. The official tree planting and reading of the proclamation will take place beginning at 11. Parks and Recreation Department will also have 6 15-gallon shade trees to be raffled off to residents attending the ceremony. So, Adrian, appreciate that. I know we've been planting a lot of trees. How far are we? About halfway through our plantings?
A little bit ahead of average.
Okay.
210 of them down already.
All right, 210 of our 300 trees down. So we're working hard to get those trees in the ground. And again, another good thing that comes out after Earth Day. But thank you for your work over there in Parks and Rec. We're putting out a lot of those trees. So also, this is a reminder that the next mayor's neighborhood cleanup will be Saturday, the April 30th. The mayor's neighborhood cleanup will be this Saturday in a portion of North Hill neighborhood and surrounding area. Neighborhood cleanups allow city sanitation customers to clean up area to place eligible items at the curbside to be picked up free of charge. Eligible items include appliances, electronics, furniture, tires, paint, and more. Visit cityofpensacola.com to learn more about the cleanup schedule and those items that are eligible. And please take advantage of this. It's a great thing that we offer. We go through once a year. So this is April, and this means we're going to be in North Hills. So please put your stuff out this Saturday, and we'll get it picked up. Bike to Work Day is May 20th. There is going to be a Bike to Work Day with Ciclovia and Bike Pensacola. Unfortunately, I will not be attending that because I'm going to be out of town. I planned to do this again. I was really excited and wanting to do this again with the Bike to Work Day, but unfortunately, I did not realize that I've got to go to a wedding for a friend of my son's that's going to be in North Carolina, so I will not be here on that day. But they are planning to bike to City Hall. There will also be fun and festivities here at City Hall from 8 to 1 that day. But it is something to go ahead and put on your calendar so you don't do like me and get something else on there. So it should be a great event, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to participate this year. The City Council will be meeting this week. The City Council Conference agenda review will be at 3:30 today, followed by the City Council workshop. City Council meeting will be Thursday at 5:30. Also, just did want to say, and I think I guess, Casey, we've released the press release on American Magic. Okay. All right. So we're excited to announce last week that the New York Yacht Club American Magic is set to return to Pensacola for training later this year. This marks the team's third winter on the training on the Gulf Coast. American Magic plans to build out the team's base this summer in advance of winter training. The team will move to Pensacola in September of this year and train all winter until relocating to Barcelona for the final push into AC 37. We're excited to host them again at the Port of Pensacola, and we're certainly looking forward to having them here in ways we can partner with sailing more. Again, certainly looking at ways we can create a niche port that works right for Pensacola, can create jobs and revenue here, and give us marine activities to see and be a part of. So again, we may not be Savannah, but I think we can make a port that is successful for what we want to do here. That's about all I have to talk about. Now I'm more than happy to answer your questions. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've all been here, but happy to answer anything y'all might have. I see Jeremy already ready.
On the American Magic, what exactly is the city's relationship with them, or is it they're just renting space on the port or leasing space on the port, or is the city kicking in on this?
Well, obviously, this part they did approach us about both in the short term and long term, beyond just this winter coming back, and we are looking at those things. We have opportunities to do. Obviously, we would not be committing any taxpayer money, but we have other enterprise funds and things that we can look at. We also have land at the port that if there were long-term situations where they wanted to move a significant amount of their operations here, we do have land at the port we could work with them. So we are evaluating ways that we can work with them, but it's certainly in ways that we have things that are already accessible that we're looking to work with partners. So we've been still evaluating this process. It was a little bit, we did meet, we did discuss. We hadn't finalized anything yet, but we were in the middle of those discussions, and we continue to look at and see what we can do. We would love to see an opportunity where it's not just coming back for this year. It's more of a how can we build a real performance sailing situation and create that potentially there with that property we have on the north end. We've put that whole area out. We've got that acreage available for usage. We want to find some way that it's marine related and some way that it's performance. And I think if we can find those things in a different way and we can create that niche for us, it could be the right thing for us. We're a niche port. And as they said at the Civicon events, the riches are in the niches. And so we're going to do a niche that's right for us. But if there's an opportunity for us to work with that, we're obviously ears open and we're listening, and we can see what we could do. Yes?
Mayor, what is Savannah doing that Pensacola's not doing in terms of cultural tourism?
I think I think they probably started stuff ahead of us. They have a little bit more of a base. They've got some infrastructure in, parking garages, parking decks. It was kind of interesting when we talked to them about parking. They're kind of moving away from more parking decks, but I reminded them that they have more than we have. We have none, you know. So, but they obviously went in and put some infrastructure in. They're not looking to expand any of those, but they certainly talked about their surface parking. They charge over $2 for their parking surface. We don't. But you know, again, we're not. That's not what we're looking to do one way or the other. But we got a long way to build up. I think what they really focused on is we're looking at our inventory and our product. I mean, I think they went into historical preservation and some things much earlier than we did in what they did in recognizing and sort of what they've come together and telling their story, and they've been able to do that. There's some things that they have. They have more hotel inventory in the city, significantly more hotel inventory in the city than we do. Obviously, we are seeing hotels build all over downtown Pensacola, so I think we'll come to a point where we have an ability to have stays where we can be in that point. So again, a lot of it was sort of learning, seeing things that they had done, steps that they had taken, so that we could prepare ourselves and put ourselves in the right position to take advantage of those things. But clearly, it's been a very big success for them. They talked about their numbers, their economic impact that tourism means to them. We think tourism is certainly successful and important to us in Escambia County, but they have 3 times the amount of tourism that we see in Savannah. So, you know, I think downtown can be a player in Escambia County tourism. I think we can be what Savannah is in some of those ways, and we see more hotel product looking at downtown Pensacola. The other thing that was awesome there is they got a lot of rooftop bars. So you know, we've been waiting to have a rooftop bar here in Pensacola. So I think one's coming with all these hotels that are coming. So you know, I think those things are there. There's no doubt. It's just it really was amazing for me. The infrastructure they had with the walkability. I walked the entire length of their Riverwalk all the way down to the west. They have a east end. Their east end is totally undeveloped right now. They had things under construction, but it kind of shows that they built the infrastructure out there, and now there's product that's coming to that area. So much the same way that we're seeing what we've done out there. I think this sort of ties into hashtag what happens where we go forward on Bayfront. I think all these things are lessons we can learn from Savannah and the infrastructure they already had in place, what creates those amenities that people want to come to and be a part of. You know, we have great parks too. They have great parks the way they were designed, but I mean, I would stack up Plaza Ferdinand, Bartram Park, Veterans Park, Plaza de Luna, Maritime Park. I would put those competitively with anybody. We just haven't found a real good way to connect them all together, but that's why we got hashtag working right now, looking at how do we connect them. I think these are how we figure out, and of course we're talking about putting a new park at Bruce Beach. So, you know, I think there's a way we can do that and learn from some of the things that they had done with those amenities in Savannah. Again, you build the kind of place people want to live. You're going to build the place people want to visit, and we're seeing that already here. I think they're just a little bit ahead of us, and so we're learning a few things that we need to do to make sure we're prepared with the infrastructure we have in place to be able to handle those kind of things.
Does Savannah have a community redevelopment agency? How do they tie all of this together? Are there similarities? They do. They have
some similar stuff. Obviously, Georgia's a little bit different than Florida, but they have some ability to do tax increment financing. They got a lot of preservation from the state of Georgia that they were able to do to retain their buildings and some of the other things. So we did talk about some of those things, how they structured it. Obviously, they built their own parking infrastructure. They've supported that. We've been able to do that with Lisa. We're not in deck parking yet. That's what we're looking at, the Maritime Park. So, I mean, but everything that when you go there and you look at what they're doing, it kind of shows us many of the decisions were made are on the path to get the right infrastructure in so that we can begin to get to that point where we could have that kind of vibrancy. I know David Forte went on the trip with us. He also went at spring break and took his family for St. Patrick's. He said it was, just amazing. The funny thing, they talked about St. Patrick's, they actually said they've kind of gotten away from the parade because it's not that important to them anymore. And they said, this was but now what they're doing, but what they've got, whether they had the parade or not, it is a significant event there, and people come. Hotels have come there, people come there, they spend money there. It's clear that it's very vibrant, and it's enabled them to have I would say the other part is growing the tourism that's downtown, and the vibrancy also generates funds right there that helps keep up that infrastructure that you have to have in your downtown and everything else. So that's also part of it, that they're able to do. So it was impressive. They have a tourism part that's not just hotels. It's also, they have their restaurants and their bars. So their bars and restaurants are very active in that as well. It's a little bit different than what we have here. Their DMO was created sort of out of that way, and it has bars, and I think the bars and restaurants also pay the bed tax. It's not just paid by the hotels. So they have a few things they do a little bit differently than we do. We have to operate within Florida law. They operate within Georgia law. But it was interesting, some of the things that we did learn from there. So, I think from a downtown standpoint and how do we become more vibrant, more relevant, it was very interesting.
Does the city market itself, the brand, or does Chatham County, do they go in with the county? How does that work?
They have a tourism bureau that we met with. It's part of their chamber. So we did meet with them. We did discuss some of that. We met and talked with them about that. And that's what they do. It is kind of countywide. I mean, it was interesting. They have sort of the same thing. They've been able to annex a little bit differently than we have. Their airport's way out, but yet they've put that in Savannah. They've been able to go annex our airport's close in. But, so there are a few differences, but they definitely have a partnership with Chatham County. They have a partnership with some of the other things. It was interesting to me. One of the things that came out of it is, and I don't think that they had fully tapped in, and we're still trying to learn. Another thing that I found that was very similar is they also are on a border. And I think they're still working with South Carolina and learning how they integrate. Because I asked that question. I said, "What do you do with South Carolina?" And they were like, "Well, we do more than we used to, but we still don't do that much." And I think we're in the same place with Alabama. I mean, okay, we do some things, but we probably could do more to advance the region and what we do. And probably if Alabama and us could continue to work better together, coastal Alabama, I think we could do great things for both communities, both areas. One of the things when I was in D.C., I met with Congressman Carl's from over there in the Mobile area, his office, and I think we have the same TV markets, everything, same radio markets in both communities. We ought to be a combined MSA. If we were a combined MSA, we would have 1.1, almost 1.2 million people. And I don't think people see us that way sometimes. I don't think we see ourselves that way sometimes. So I think there's opportunities that I saw that they weren't taking advantage of partnering with South Carolina. I think we should take more opportunities to continue to work with our neighbors to the west as well in Mobile and what we could do. Because I think when we market to the world, we know where all these things are, and we have these little rivalries that we see on the Gulf Coast. But in the worldwide spectrum, in the national spectrum, they don't even know who we are. So I think we need to remind them that if we were a combined MSA, we're about 1.15 million people, and it's a fairly significant player. We'd be like number 50 in terms of MSAs. And so I think when you start thinking about Pensacola Mobile being in the top 50 MSAs in the country, I think that begins to put it in an appropriate scale of who we are and what we have to offer and what we have to offer other people, because we're not just a sleepy bedroom community anymore. I mean, we're a major place, a destination.
Well, following up on that is that you
talk about combining MS, would that be something that you have to be recognized on the federal level?
Correct. I mean, it's one of the things, Mayor Simpson and I were meeting before the pandemic, and we've never gotten back together. But one of the things we talked about was how do we do that, and that was one of the things I talked when I was with Carl's people was, I think that would be something that we should look at. I think it would be significant for the Gulf Coast. Coastal Mississippi is a part of the New Orleans MSA. So why wouldn't we partner together to put ourselves in a combined MSA and market ourselves that way? I think when you start really sitting back and looking at it and realizing, yeah, we're in the top 50 combined MSAs in the country. I think it says a lot about who we are as a community, that we have more potential than we sometimes think. And again, it's the factors that it's based off of is do you share sort of the same culture, or do you have the same radio stations, TV stations? We do all that. So why wouldn't we go ahead and put ourselves in that situation? Pensacola MSA is about 500,000, Mobile is about 440, and Baldwin County's is 200. So if you put all those together, you're about 1.15. So it's, I think it says a lot about our community that we're a major player, and we should begin to think of the Central Gulf Coast in that way, in that Mobile, Pensacola area. So it's certainly, I think that's the way we ought to be presenting ourselves the best possible way to the country and to the world when we look at those kind of things.
Would that have any kind of advantage as far as like unlocking federal funding?
I think more what it would do is you get the recognition of other places, private institutions see you as much more viable. And I think people are beginning to realize that we're there, but we really haven't done a good job of probably marketing ourselves, what we are and what we can offer. And I don't think most of us tend to think of ourselves as really being in a really sort of an area that's developing that has 1 million people in it. So I think when you look at that, what those 4 counties would be, there's a significant amount of people in that area. There's a significant amount of business going on, and there's still a significant amount of property as we work forward and look for the future. So there's a lot of growth potential still there. So, I think it's a way that we continue to market our community, and I just think it's for us to get a better projection of ourselves. And I think we should find ways to work better with our neighbors to the west, to regionally work with them, because it benefits them, it benefits us.
On your trip to DC, you talked about the airport expansion. Is there, with like the new federal legislation passed, is there funding available to speed that up, or what's the timeline?
Jim, I think there will absolutely be there'll be money both at the federal and state area, which is why we got to get cracking. We know we want to get the design going, and we want to get moving. So we know that we'll be there, and this is the right time to strike, and that's why we're working very diligently to position that. Listen, I'm not going to be here. The next mayor is going to be here, but I'm going to continue to live here. And travel service and flights and business, all those things, having an airport that can reach a number of different destinations is going to be critical to Pensacola going forward. So, I think it's in all of our best interest to keep trying to put that Pensacola airport and keep moving it forward and giving it as much access as it can to be able to grow and expand and really grow the needs of what we are. When you look at infrastructure, it's incredibly critical to have that way that you connect to the outside, whether it's tourism, whether it's traveling, whether it's business. All of those things are going to depend upon a world-class airport, and I think that's what we want to continue to do here. We've been very focused at creating that in the city of Pensacola, and I'm just amazed at where we've gotten to, but we have a lot further to go, and I think we can do it, and we're positioning ourselves to be ready when those monies start flowing and are there and can be applied. We certainly would love to see a shovel-ready project at the Pensacola International Airport.
Do you know what the timeline of that is?
we're getting money starting from what we got out of session for design. So we'll take design. So you're probably looking, if best, if all things went together, Kareth, you think 5-7 years in that time frame? Yeah. I mean, that would be a fast approach. But, I mean, I think we all want to move it fast. But I think it just depends on what we could do.
I have a follow-up on the American Magic.
Yes.
There was a group that went before the TDC, and the TDC was supportive of giving $500,000 as part of a whole effort to do like a sponsorship for the Pensacola area. Is the city involved in that?
We were not involved with the TDC. We were asked. There is the potential through some of our enterprises for us to look at some situations of cash, which we talked to. But really, what we talked to them about is what we have much more opportunity to work with you on is land. You know, and there was this short term that was talked about. You know, with what happened over at the county offices. But there's also a longer term play, and we would love to be involved with that. Anything we could do as we continue to look at ways to make our port a niche port that, again, still creates maritime amenities for the community, but really takes those amenities and finds a way to create both jobs and revenue and put them at really the cutting edge of what we're doing in research. And so if that comes down to some type of opportunity to look at a sailing center, we're definitely open. We are open to evaluating. We would do marine research, whatever we think those are ways we could use our port to. We discussed that probably in 2018, 2019 when we set that property aside. And obviously COVID has challenged us a little bit, but we have been actively looking consistently, how do we create that? How do we measure and put something in there that does all these things we want to do, wants to be involved in the marine economy, but wants to be involved on the research side and much more at that cutting edge technology side. And so we certainly have that capability there, and we're looking at it.
You're talking about land at the port that would not just be for the American Magic team, but for a sailing center that they want to.
There's the potential of looking to figure out what we could do, and if we could work something with, a U.S. sailing and a variety of other things. There are all those possibilities that are talked about. I mean, that's what's attractive to us is if there was an opportunity to do something like that. Obviously, what we're looking at interim term is just getting the American Magic back, which is exciting, and that's great, and that's a part of it. But I think we're also looking long term. So, I mean, it's certainly there if it's something they're interested in. If they're not, we move on to the next one. We've talked about doing marine research. We would love to continue to keep finding partners. But I think we're going to continue to have people knocking on the door that want to look at it. We want to continue to remind people we have that property available, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, Jim, I don't think 3 years ago we thought, well, this is going to be a sailing center, but we said it'll be a marine, something that we could do research cutting edge. And when that came up and they talked about doing that, it kind of shifted gears. There's a lot of stuff we could do in that related to boat trials, manufacturing, sales, variety, just a lot of different things that could be there, a lot of different skills of people that would move to this area. All those things, again, we think are incredibly good and would fit with what we have. And, whether it's American Magic or whoever else, I continue to be amazed. People tell me that is perhaps one of the best sailing bays in the world, not just the United States, I mean the world. It'd be great to see more ways to take advantage of that. Well, if that's it, thank you very much for coming here. I promise you, I don't think from now until November we're going to take off 2 weeks again, but we certainly appreciate your patience with us, and we're glad to be back and look forward to answering any questions. Thank you.